Hey, everybody, welcome to the Blue Madness podcast. We got something different. I got my main man, Mike Salas, with me, but we also have Brandon, too. He is the operations and analyst for no habla inglés, Sports Info Solutions. He's a pro evaluator of the Prospects Live. He has a specialty in Japanese baseball and all other things Asian baseball related. Well, I probably should bring that in a little bit, but I'll let you bring that in. Brandon,
Yeah,
welcome to the show. Thanks for coming on board.
thanks for having me. I really appreciate it, and I'm excited to talk about a lot of different things, but MPB mainly for
Yeah.
today.
Right on. Well, I'm going to turn it over to the main guy, who I believe discovered Yamamoto for the Dodger world, introduced him to the Dodger world. My man, Mike Salas, go for it. Have
Thank you.
at it.
Thank you.
I will monitor the questions. How about that?
Cool. Cool. Well, again, thanks, Brandon. I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah,
Like we discussed before we came on. I've been watching you for a little while now. You and Cosmopolitan, on the way that you guys discuss and the way that you break down these players is just truly amazing. And the most. Somebody in the States, I would say, you have the best grasp on these players that are coming into the new 2026 season for the draft. So appreciate you coming on. So let's get right into it, and correct me, on my pronouncement of the names.
yeah,
Let's start off with Tetsuya Amaya.
yeah. Tatsui Imai. He's interesting.
Hmm.
Runner fastball, arm side slider, like reverse slider. I say it's like a gyro ball. It's the
Okay.
closest thing to like what Dice K was throwing back in the day that everyone talked about is like, oh, it's this mysterious pitch. It's really just a reverse like slider, kind of breaks down away. You think of sliders like moving glove side.
Hmm.
Amai's kind of moves arm side. He's a very fascinating pitcher because of just like the way he like operates. And the biggest thing about him, I guess, in terms of what he's like overcome in terms of like challenges in MPB and just like figuring it out is he used to walk a
Hmm.
lot of batters, and now he's kind of cut down the walk rate. He has a lot more control now. I wouldn't even say it's like command, but it's also, and we can get into this a little bit more when we talk about just MPB in general. It's really hard to like pin down the command of some pitchers in MPB sometimes
Hmm.
because there's a lot of chase, there's a lot of like weird swings. It's just a different
Okay.
style of baseball. You're trying to foul the ball off and stuff like that. So Imai's a really interesting arm, but I've watched a lot of 2024 and 2025 of him, and
Hmm.
I still can't really pin down like where he is in an MLB rotation. Like let's say this season, but he's definitely going to get paid.
Okay. And then
Do
what?
do you
What do
have
you?
any, do you have any favorites on him?
Yeah. I mean, I really like the slider. I think the slider's like legit. It's just different. Like Dario Moreta on the Pirates throws like a similar slider. And he throws his like just harder than Moreta does. So I just think it's an interesting pitch. Like it's unique.
Hmm.
The from the arm slot he's throwing from like this low like
Hmm.
20-degree, 25-degree arm angle. It's very similar actually in terms of like pitch movement to like a Trey Savage that we saw in the World Series.
Okay.
But Savage is coming from like this over the top like slot, so it's just a different look.
Hmm.
There's really no like precedent for what Imai's doing with that pitch because not a lot of guys throw it in MLB and they don't really throw it in MPB either. So he dominated righties with the pitch. So I think he's going to continue to do that because I just think it's a funky, weird pitch. So
Hmm.
that's probably like my favorite thing about him is like he's funky, he's weird, he's a plus athlete. Like he's a really good athlete. Kind
Hmm.
of throws like a middle infielder on the mound and stuff like that. And he can throw hard. Like he throws touches 99. That's another thing about him is he gas pedals a lot too. Like he'll throw 92 in an inning and then he'll get it up to like 96, 97 when runners get on
Okay.
base because he's like kind of getting a little upset. Like, oh, like now I need to lock in a little bit and throw a little bit harder. So in MLB, he's probably going to throw harder. He's probably going to sit 95, 96. But yeah, that's kind of like what teams should like about him is he's young. he doesn't come with a qualifying offer in this like free agent class,
Right.
and you're getting a guy who theoretically the upside is like a number 2 starter if you really think it's going to work out.
Now, his main 2 pitches are four seam and the slider that you talked about. What can you talk about his Vulcan changeup that he's started throwing this year?
Yeah, I definitely can. I don't think a lot of people like touch on it because unless you're like really watching him, you're not gonna like see the different grips, really like watch the different off-speed pitches he throws. But he throws 3 different off-speed pitches. That's actually a pretty common thing in Japan. Like guys throwing splitters and changeups, especially from like a starter standpoint. A lot of guys will do it to get like a velo difference and kind of a different spin on the ball. So that's what he's doing with like this new Vulcan that he started throwing. He kind of threw it like middle way through the year, like in September, like August almost, for about 5 or 6 starts. Then he kind of like went away from it. Everyone keeps talking about a splitter being like really good, and I think it's a good pitch. My thing with it is it's not like a Yamamoto splitter. It's not like a Roki Sasaki 80 grade best splitter in the world type of pitch. It's very much like a 55 grade above average type splitter that's probably going to work in MLB. But my whole thing with it is I don't think he'd be throwing a changeup, a splitter, and a Vulcan if he truly like believed in the splitter as a pitch. So he threw a lot more changeups than he did like splitters. And then he started introducing this Vulcan, which was a very like odd decision, like halfway, like almost like August, September of this year, just started to like throw this Vulcan changeup.
Right.
And it's got a little bit more like less velo on it. There's a little bit of a funky spin on it, so maybe that's why he went to it. And look, I'm projecting here, but I think he's going to keep like 2 of the 3 off-speed pitches. I don't think there's really a use for like all 3 of them. To me, it's probably going to be changeup splitter, but like if he ends up going to a Vulcan at some point in his MLB career because he like the ball's just different, he can't get a grip or something. That's another thing. Like Shota Imanaga started throwing a Vulcan changeup at some point in 2024. So and then he kind of scrapped it and went away from it. So again, the ball's just like a little bit different, and we can talk about that a little bit too. But the balls in MPB are slightly smaller, a little bit tackier, so they're easier to throw, easier to backspin, easier to grip a splitter. If he has problems like gripping a splitter or something, he could go to his like changeup that he did throw 16% of the time to righties. He threw a splitter 7% of the time to righties. So, this is to lefties. Righties, he really just threw fastball slider. So again, I think he's gonna be a fastball slider guy to righties, but it's about figuring out left-handed hitters in MLB. I think mainly for him. And honestly, as a pitcher, he's had problems with left-handed hitters for most of his career. Most of his career.
Yeah, because I've actually seen him pitch a couple times on some pirated stuff that you can get, because I like watching the NPB stuff, and I did notice that that his he's had a little bit of trouble with left-handed batters in regards to right-handed batters that's there, and what was it 2022 or 23 is when he had his injuries.
He's been pretty durable for the most part. He's at like that's probably his biggest thing about him is that he's been mostly durable for a lot of his career. So I think a team would be buying into, and there's a lot of like conversations about, he's 5'11", he's under 6 feet. But we see with Yamamoto, like Yamamoto's under 6 feet, super athletic, flexible guy. I think he can throw a bunch of innings, eat up innings like we saw in the World Series. I think that man has a rubber arm and can basically throw whenever he wants. I don't know if Amai is basically in the same category, but I would say that Amai like has been pretty durable, and I think a team's going to buy into like the athleticism. He might start on like a 6-man rotation and then go to a 5-man. He's had a little bit of injuries, but not for the most part. He's been pretty durable, and I think that's what teams are going to be buying into. Is he's a workhorse. He throws a lot of innings. I think they're going to buy into just like the arm angle, the age. And his best seasons right now, he's coming off like his peak in MPB. And that's what's important is like he's really taken a step forward with like the control and even the command aspect. Like he went from like a very below average strike thrower to all of a sudden he's like around average. Like you could see it working in MLB.
Because and the reason why I brought that up, because I wanted you to talk about his durability, because his injuries that he sustained
Yeah,
was an oblique injury, and he had a what was it, strep throat,
yeah.
I think it was. So it was nothing with his arm or anything, but like you said, his durability has just been incredible, and how he can, just go out there and pitch, during his rotation, and the amount of innings that he can eat up also.
Yeah, I mean, last year he threw 163 innings. So, like, if I was in a MLB team, I would be expecting him to throw 150, 160 innings,
Hmm.
like no problem. The one thing I would say again is like MPB is just a little bit different. Like they have off
Yeah.
days on Mondays. It's really like a 6-man rotation. You throw on your off day.
Hmm.
Those guys also throw a lot. Like they throw in between games. They do a lot of bullpens, a lot of side sessions. So they're we've seen it with teams like using the 6-man rotation to like kind of bridge guys into the MLB and kind of like make it more similar as close as it can be to MPB. So we'll see if that's like the same thing with Amai, but I'd expect him to like throw 150 innings, next
Hmm.
season if healthy and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I think that's what teams would be buying into, and just yeah, the arm angle and all that stuff. And again, his fastball is weird. Like it's a runner two plane like look. It's honestly getting close to like the dead zone in
Okay.
metrics terms. That just means that like the horizontal movement and the vertical movement are like canceling each other out. So
Hmm.
it's like a flat pitch basically. So there is a chance that with like the MLB baseball, the movement like contracts a little bit. Like all of a sudden, like it's not a good pitch. Like
Right. Right.
there is real concern that like it could not be good, but he also throws the pitch 96 to 99. And like let's say he throws harder in MLB because he's not gas pedaling as much, like he's really going for it. And
Hmm.
like let's say he sits like 96, then you can probably sit 96 with like a lower arm angle and a dead zone fastball than like if you're throwing 94,
Okay.
93 with a dead zone fastball. So that would be like the biggest concern for me if I was like talking about him from like that
Mm.
standpoint. And then also there has been like a couple of injuries here and there, but for the most part, he's been very durable.
Yeah. 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 I completely agree with all that. And then, and you talked about his athleticism, because I've also seen demonstrations of him, hitting and
Yeah,
running bases. The same thing with Yamamoto. I actually seen him take a bullpen or a batting practice, on the field, and he was jacking balls out.
yeah,
So yes, I totally agree that they're both very athletic. So the big thing right now is, the big buzz, on social media with Amaya is his comments that he had about the Dodgers, on how he didn't want to play with them, and that he's looking forward to playing against them. And do you actually, what team do you see? What, list like the top three teams, because my personal one is, I think he's going to be going to the Giants.
yeah,
My is my personal one, and I've always thought that. After his comments about that he doesn't want to play with other Japanese pitchers, and I completely understand that, and I understand that, by watching you and Cosmopolitan, because you guys brought that up quite a bit about, Japanese players when they come over the MLB, they want to, make their own mark, and they don't want to be shadowed.
yeah.
What the Dodgers have right now with Sasaki, Yamamoto, and Ohtani is not really, it doesn't really happen all that often. So if you can, talk about the teams that you think he's going to be going to.
Yeah, I think the Giants make the most sense. That's one that's been talked about a lot, just because of like they have the money to spend. They're looking to
Hmm.
get guys. Will they push the 150 mil, 160 mil mark without the posting fee? For a guy like him, will they go the 7 or 8 years? On a guy like Amai. You also got to factor in like Patrick Bailey's their catcher, like Buster Posey has really been like adamant about we're trying to spend this off season, we're trying to like improve this team. I think if you put him in a ballpark like Oracle with the Giants, I think there's a chance that really could work out for a guy like him, especially just being able to pitch and being comfortable, and then learning from guys like Logan Webb and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But in terms of other teams, I mean, you can't ever like rule out the Dodgers because of the presence of other Japanese players.
Mhm.
To your point, like he said, like kind of cryptically that he doesn't want to play with other guys, but the aspect of like from a culture standpoint of all these other guys are here, like you can assimilate pretty easily into a clubhouse
Right.
and like there's already a group of guys there ready to assimilate with. I think that's like a factor at least. The Rays are a team that's pretty sharp with like pitching minds and stuff like that. They could be in on an MI. I mentioned this on my podcast with Yaku. Like Yu Darvish and him are like pretty close, and Yu
Mhm.
Darvish has been trying to get guys to go to San Diego. So like that is obviously a destination as well. And staying on the West Coast as well. Like a lot of those guys might gravitate towards the West Coast a little bit more than like the middle of the country or the East Coast. But we see that like the Cubs signed Seiya Suzuki and Imanaga. Like there is a presence around the league of like other Japanese pitchers, and really it's just about teams like having a presence in like Japan or Korea,
Mhm.
and you know building those relationships from a pretty early stage to then get these guys to like come over and sign. So I could see dark horse teams like the Orioles being in on him. Like if he talks to Sagano and Sagano's like, hey man, like Orioles pretty sharp organization. Like if they're
Mhm.
willing to spend the money, like I could see the Orioles being in on him and maybe some other dark horse teams that like people aren't really thinking about. But for the most part, I think it's like Giants, Padres, Dodgers, Rays.
Okay.
All the teams you would think about in terms of like that stuff, and of course the Yankees are like heavily rumored on him too. Like
Yeah.
they're trying to get a Japanese presence, and they're trying to get Japanese talent. So I could see the Yankees being a clear, we're going to give this guy the money and you know make him our 2 or 3 starter, and we're just going to roll him out there. I definitely could see that being a thing, and also I think he cerebrally wants to go to like a pitching minded organization or a sharp you know pitching minds inside of an organization, and I think all of those teams kind of fit the bill. I mean even the Red Sox are a sharp pitching organization, so you
Right.
can see that as well.
Hey, I've always wanted to, and I don't mean to throw off, right here. It's I've always been after Yamamoto and Sasaki, the third guy that I've always been really interested in, and I want to get your take on him. Is Hiroyuto Takahashi.
Okay, yeah.
What happened to him?
Yeah, Hiroto's interesting. He was really, really good like 2024, like going into 2025. Yaku and I were having conversations about it being like 1A, 1B with like him and you know Shinpeita Yamashita and stuff like that.
Mhm.
I think Hiroto's still good. A lot of his stuff this year, I think, had to do with like command and like locations of
Okay.
certain pitches and stuff like that. But in terms of like stuff, he's sitting like 95, has like a splitter type splinker, kind of like Yamamoto does. You know, he throws it hard, like 90 plus. The slider and the curve are pretty good. So and he kind of throws that as like cutters and sliders. Like
Right,
the shapes
right.
are very much like harder than a lot
Mhm.
of other guys would throw. So yeah, that's a good shout out. Like Hiroto's like a very good stuff guy,
Mhm.
and I think he bounces back going into next
Okay.
season. But yeah, I would say in terms of like guys over there right now, Hiroto's in like this tier of guys as well. I would put like Hiroya Miyagi and Hiromi Ito, who just won the Sawamura Award.
Okay. Yep.
Levon Moinello in that category. And then obviously I think the most talented pitcher right now in Japan is probably Shinpeita Yamashita.
Yeah.
He's very, very talented and he throws
Very.
very hard. His curveball is really, really good. And he has, again, like this splinker type splitter that's really nasty. So, yeah, there's a lot of talent, and the influx of talent is only going to get like push more and more to MLB in terms of like the top guys wanting to compete at the highest level,
Right.
I think. So yeah.
You got anything, Tim?
Yeah. So looking at these guys, so you got I'm terrible with the names. Am I?
Yeah, Imai. Yeah, Tatsu Imai.
Where do you put him? So you just mentioned a lot of pitchers. Where do you put him in that ranking?
So I think he was like the third or fourth best pitcher in Japan this season. Like he was very good. You could argue there was at times he had like a 17 strikeout game or somewhere close to that. You could argue at times during the season, and I think Yaku and I even have like podcasts where it's like at a certain point in the season, it's like he's the clear-cut best pitcher in Japan.
Right.
But Hiromi Ito kind of, from a durability standpoint, just the amount of strikeouts he put up, like he won the Sawamura Award just because of like the pure sheer volume of like stats he put up. So yeah, I would put him in like a 3 category of like guys coming over from Japan. I want to caution, I don't think he's like a Yamamoto. I don't think he's in that level of talent, but I see him in like the bucket of like a Senga or somewhere like that, where Senga is very talented pitcher. The stuff is very good. I think he's a more durable Senga, if that kind of makes sense, because Senga's kind of had durability issues. So and they lean on like unique pitches as well too, which is kind of like a unique factor of both of those guys.
Yeah, and I think you guys both landed on the Giants, and that just makes way too much sense.
Yeah,
given they are trying to get some more pitching, and if he's going to come in at 170 million for 6 or 7 years, I mean that's why I go, I don't know about those Padres.
Yeah,
that'll be tough for them, but they need pitching. I can see, Diamondbacks have done that thing where they've snuck in a few times and done those types of things. They did it with Burns last year, and they got burned with that.
Yep.
And they did it with Rodriguez a couple years before that, and that worked out so well too. But they have money coming off the thing with Zach Gallen. They really should re-sign him.
Yeah, before we came on, I was kind of joking. Like most of the NL West should probably be in on Tatsumai. From a standpoint of at least 3 or 4 of these teams should be on him, just because of you're not only trying to get the Japanese presence, but I think he's a good enough pitcher to warrant the spending of 150, 160 mil. Yeah. But maybe we can get to like this point to like kind of wrap him up. I just don't know how good he's going to be next year with all the transitions and like going to a new ball. The ball's slicker. Like, is he going to have like a feel for it? Also going from like throwing all these chase pitches in MPB and getting a bunch of swing and miss to then going to an automated like challenge system in ABS and stuff like that. So he's going to have to throw pitches in the zone. And that's where I'm like, okay, you're really going to have to get the ball up to the top of the zone and stuff like that. And he did a pretty good job of it in terms of getting the ball up. It wasn't as much as you think it would be, just because he would target down a lot and stuff like that. And that's just kind of a byproduct of pitching in Japan. Like a lot of Japanese pitchers target down. We kind of saw that with Yamamoto coming over and even Sasaki, like they target down a lot. But I will say, based off numbers, like in my last year, 64% high zone in terms of like his fastball, and then for right-handers, and then left-handers 66.6%. So he did get it up like 2/3 of the time. The problem is like the uncompetitive pitches, the ones that are very much out of the zone, where it's like, okay, you're not really getting a swing on that, or you're not getting that pitch isn't setting up anything. So that's my biggest concern about him, is just all these transitions. I could see him being more of like a 4 or 5, and a team could all of a sudden look back and be like, man, we just gave you 160 million. Like, are you sure we want like a 4 now? But I think in like 2 or 3 years, he can very much be worth around like, I consider him like the 3rd best pitcher in the free agent class behind Valdez and Cease. So I think he's worth the money if a team is willing to spend it. And again, like I mentioned earlier, he doesn't come with a qualifying offer. So
again, it's a big deal.
That's kind of a big deal.
Yep. And if Dylan Cease, Mr. 455, I know ERA is a little overrated.
Yeah.
Getting 7.210. This dude's getting paid. Don't be surprised if he gets 200 million.
I know, now that Cease got his contract, I'm like starting to think about Amai's contract now. I'm like, I think he's definitely going to reach like 200 with the posting fee at least. And again, I like Cease. Like I'm a guy that likes Cease. I think like some of this under the hood stuff is really, really good. But again, you mentioned like from a production standpoint, the Blue Jays gave that guy $210 million. So to your
for
point,
him, man.
Amai's going to get paid. I think that's the conclusion we've come to with seeing that Cease deal.
Cool.
All right, so we got my man Showtime LA has some questions that we're gonna get to once we get to past the topics, but let's make sure we get to those because the dude's always on the ball with the questions. So we'll get to those. But we got to get through the topics first.
Yeah, and some of our questions that we have are going to answer Showtime stuff. So it seems like Showtime and us are on the same wavelength, a lot of the time. So we got you covered. So let's transition over to Murakami and Okamoto.
Yeah.
And I kind of want to start with this because in some ways it kind of like blew my mind when you and Cosmopolitan talked about this, but it made a lot of sense to me. Talk about the zoned contact and how Murakami compares to Shohei Ohtani in that realm of zoned contact.
Yeah. So again, as more and more I've scouted guys, I've started to kind of understand that like zone contact rate and how much you make contact inside the zone, especially now that we're moving to an ABS system and pitchers have to be inside the zone. You have to make contact on pitches in the zone. The numbers are kind of like shocking, startling in terms of like the numbers. Murakami was 73.4%. Some people have 72% zone contact rate in 2025. Again, those are like kind of like lesser plate appearance, lesser numbers. He got was hurt for a little bit, so he played less games. But in 2024, it was 71.7%. These are from Yaku. So again, those numbers are very shocking. But what Yaku pointed out, and I think is a good thing to at least talk about, is Ohtani's numbers when he was coming over from Japan. He was around like 74% as well. Like he was in that ballpark where it was like his zone contact percentage was as bad, if not like sometimes worse than Murakami's has been. And I will point this out, and I think we tried to make this pretty clear in our convo. Murakami is not the same athlete as Ohtani.
Yeah.
And so there is real concern about him being able to like make adjustments to fix the swing to make more contact. But there is a precedent for somebody being young, being able to come over to MLB, like the spring training. All of that stuff is pretty rocky. You have people coming out being like, is Ohtani a high school hitter? All this stuff. There is a precedent of a guy like coming over, making the adjustments and figuring it out. Then again, I would like to preface that by saying Ohtani is generational and the best baseball player of all time, arguably. So,
and that's kind of why I wanted to really emphasize on the zoned contact portion of it.
Yeah.
Because in my opinion, I think Murakami is getting a bad rap right now.
Yeah, definitely.
In the States, his raw power is incredible, and if he can figure things out, or something may click for him when he comes over here, and he can just because he can crush the ball, with some hard hit coming off the bat, we'll get to this, talking about his struggles, in infield play. But can you talk about just his raw power alone and how it has, how it could really? He reminds me of a young. I shouldn't say reminds me. To me, he has the potential to be another Max Muncy.
Yeah, Max Muncy's like a decent comp. In terms of like just production and like getting to that production and how they get to it, kind of like the walks on base, hitting the ball really hard. Murakami's like raw power and even game power is like unmatched. Right before I came on, I was watching a little bit more Murakami video just to be like, I just want to make sure I'm like right on this. I've watched a lot of Murakami, but there was a pitch in like this season in like September where he's completely like off balance, arms. It's like completely arms, just like swinging like this, and he flicks the ball out to left field for a home run. Just like flicks the ball out. So when you talk about Murakami and like the power that he possesses, it's like up there with Shohei Ohtani, Judge, Stanton, Ellie De La Cruz, O'Neal Cruz. Like he hits the ball as hard as anyone else on the planet. And honestly, the way he hits the ball off time and like off balance and just like with like just strictly like he's like falling over, hitting with his arms, basically, he can hit the ball out of the stadium with just like using his upper body. And like, I don't, there's just not many players that can do stuff like that. So again, when people talk about Murakami, it comes from like this huge, like negative, like conversation. Cause like the zone contact rates are very concerning. The numbers against velo, I don't put too much stock into because again, he doesn't face a lot of high velo. Like, I can count on one hand how many guys throw, in terms of starters, throw 95 plus. Like it just doesn't happen. There's like maybe 2 guys as starters who throw like 95 plus consistently. Maybe that's a little bit low. It could be like five pitchers. But the idea is he doesn't see velo. And every single pitcher, I mean, every single position player, every single batter who's making this transition from MPB to MLB or KBO to MLB, or CPBL to MPB, like it's a jump in velocity. Like it's a jump in velocity for everyone. So I'm not gonna like discount that, but it's a very small sample size. It's like that stat that was going around that was like it was 093 against like pitches 93 and above. That was like 20. That was like 20 plate appearances. So again, like we can judge 20 plate appearances, or we can just look at the fact that like I saw him today on a 93 mile an hour pitch away from him, completely off balance with his upper body, just hit a ball out and basically flick a ball out to left field for a home run. So like he does have the capability to like, again, hit a bunch of homers. And I think that's where his production is going to come from. I don't know if you want to talk about that, but like,
yeah.
He's basically going to be like a guy who needs to walk a lot and he needs to hit a bunch of bombs. And like, that's going to be his value as a player.
Yep. You got something, Tim?
No, I lost my keyboard for a bit, so I was panicking.
Oh,
Through that.
go ahead. I really like the question for Brandon about the difficulty on data thing. So I kind of want to get to that.
Go ahead.
Go for it.
Yeah, this is real interesting to me. How difficult is it to gather data from Japanese, Korean, Taiwanese leagues for your work?
It has been extremely hard to gather data. I have to like ask sources like inside MLB orgs and stuff like that for data sometimes. It's very hard to get data. And that's why a lot of what I'm talking about is me watching a pitcher every single start, manually charting from hand Tatsumai's starts. And so I compile this like database of like usages and first pitch strikes numbers and what he throws with 2 strikes and stuff like that. So yeah, it's very hard to get data for some of these guys. You kind of just have to know the right people. But they do have like TrackMan and stuff like that. There also is like a little bit of like, is TrackMan calibrated correctly? Like, is the data, like you have to scrub the data and like figure out if the data is like as accurate as it could be. So again, that's where you'll see like the differences in numbers sometimes. Like I'll have like 73.4 and someone else might have like 72.8. That could strictly come down to like how you assess the zone and stuff like that. Like it's actually kind of shocking that like in general teams will have like a different understanding of like what the zone is or whatever, so yeah, to answer that question up front, it is extremely difficult to gather data and stuff like that.
I just thought that was an excellent.
Yeah.
I'm not saying
it's a really good question.
All the other ones aren't excellent. That one just really caught my eye right off the bat. So let's get back to Murakami and where do you see him? Do you see him? Because I actually see him more as a designated hitter.
Yeah.
And for the Dodgers, we already have a designated hitter who's one of our starting pitchers. We already have a first baseman who is who is an all-star.
Yeah.
possible Hall of Famer. We have a third baseman, but Murakami struggles at third base. Can you just talk about that and where you actually see him and
Yeah.
what team he could possibly go to?
I wouldn't rule it out that a team like tries him at third base because like let's be honest, like Rafi Devers played third base for the
Right.
longest time. Like teams will do anything to try to get guys on the field and get value out of a glove. And maybe Murakami wants to be on the field, but I don't see him as a third baseman. Just from watching him for all these years, I don't think the footwork is that great. I don't think the arm utility is great. His arm is like fine. He's like a converted catcher. He was drafted as a catcher, kind of moved to third base, bulked up. I think that's a lot of his issue is that he bulked up and kind of sold out for power. So it kind of made like the third base stuff really hard to figure out. Not saying that you can't coach him and figure it out because there are guys who have like gotten better defensively just because they get with the right fielding instructor, they start doing things to help themselves, and they get to like even if you're below average, like you're slightly below average, so you're able to make it work. His numbers in terms of like defensive runs saved for us as a company at Sports Info Solutions on the MPB side, like I'm not going to say the like actual like raw number, total number, because people are going to take that and like run with it, and it's like this shocking number.
Right. Yeah.
But he was ranking as one of the worst third basemen defensively by our like defensive metrics. And if you just watch him, he just wasn't that comfortable. He also hasn't played a ton of first base, so that's a huge problem as well. Like I again, much like to what you're saying, like I think he's a DH. And I think you'd want him a DH in his first season. Like you want him to get comfortable just kind of figuring out hitters and not having to worry about playing the field and figuring out the defensive side of it.
So one of the things though about Max Muncy, believe it or not, he's actually very athletic.
Yeah.
He still runs, 28 feet per second to first base.
Yeah, pretty athletic for his like body and build.
Built like he's boxy. But does Murakami have any type of that athletic ability?
I don't think he runs the same well. I think he's like a negative athlete, but in terms of like
the reflexes,
what he's asked to do and reflexes and stuff like that, I think it could work. I don't think it's the fielding aspect of playing third base. I think it's more like the footwork, getting yourself into position to make throws and stuff like that. I don't think he's that great at that.
Because Muncy wasn't very good either a couple years ago, and he's got better.
Right.
And again, from a first base standpoint, I don't know if he has the footwork to play first base. Like he really hasn't played first base that much.
Right. Yeah, it's not as easy as they think.
Yeah.
My man Jeff Snydog from All Dodgers is dropped in with a question. So I wanted to bring that question in. He's asking about platoon splits being available. He was trying to find Rokies last year and really couldn't find any.
Yeah, platoon splits are available. I have splits for like pitchers and stuff like that. In terms of hitters, I can always like ask around and get splits. Splits are available. I will say this: Murakami's actually a reverse splits guy. I'll see if I can find like the numbers on it exactly. But he's very much a reverse split.
Would like you have to go onto your site to find the information?
No, I think this is something Yaku Cosmopolitan had in terms of just like his overall career numbers. He's actually he's a reverse splits type of guy. So he hits left-handers a little bit better than he does hit right-handers. But again, I don't think that's like something to look into totally because it's not like a huge marginal thing. But he does handle left-handers decently well. I'll see if I can find the data and maybe we can circle back to it in terms of the platoon splits. So yeah.
You're right. Who was the other guy we're comparing Murakami to?
Okamoto.
Yeah, we can go ahead and talk about Okamoto a little bit if you guys.
Yeah, I don't know hardly anything about him.
Yeah.
So obviously, not obviously, but Okamoto doesn't have the raw power as Murakami does. Can you talk about his ability to get on base with walks and his plate discipline?
Yeah, he's kind of like the safer of the two options. For me, I just really like his consistency as a hitter over like the last 3 or 4 seasons. He's kind of entering like his prime in terms of like how good he's been in MPB. It's kind of been like these last 4 years or so that he's been really good. And again, from like a walks and like on base percentage standpoint, Murakami does walk. He does get his walks. He does, have high on base in terms of like what you would think for a guy who strikes out 30% of the time in Japan. I think it was like 28% over there last season in terms of strikeout percentage. Akamoto is a little bit different in terms of like just how he gets to his stuff. I think if I'm not mistaken, I think he had 11% for both of his walk and strikeout percentages last year. So again, he walks a little bit more, but he also doesn't strike out as much. So again, he kind of works at bats. He hunts for his pitches. I think Murakami does a similar thing, like hunting for a certain pitch and doing damage on it. But Akamoto's like really hunting for like a specific pitch to like pull and to get like air on the ball and basically hit for like air pull percentage. I think Yaku had this great stat that I kind of used in one of my articles for Prospects Live. Akamoto has the highest air percentage in NPB since 2021 at 67.3%, a minimum of 1,600 plate appearances. Very similar to like Seiya Suzuki. Like we at SIS, I think we have like an estimated launch angle for a synthetic StatCast where we can kind of estimate like launch angles and stuff like that. And Akamoto's launch angle is very similar to say like a Seiya Suzuki's at 17.9 degrees. Akamoto is 17.5 degrees. So again, his swing is like geared to basically lift the ball, to loft the ball and pull it to his pull side. And I do think like while he doesn't have the raw power of a guy like Murakami, he can get to like home runs in game because of the ability to pull the ball in the air. So that's one aspect of his like plate appearances and just the way he works counts and stuff like that. Like that's what makes him a really, really good hitter.
So do you think he has the ability to be a 30 home run player? Probably not like his first year, but eventually.
So I think he could follow a very similar thing like to what Seiya Suzuki went through. Like honestly, when I watch Akamoto, I'm like, that's Seiya Suzuki, but a little less athleticism. Just the way they go about like setting up pitchers in the box and like going through counts and stuff like that. And I think he can get to like 30 home runs. It'd have to be in like a certain ballpark, and I think he's more like relying on the home park he's going to play in than say like a Murakami who can basically just hit the ball out of the park anywhere. Like I don't think he's going to have problems like getting the ball out of basically any park he plays in, where Akamoto's probably going to have to play in a specific ballpark in order to get to like 30 home runs. But I think he does have like 30 home run potential in MLB.
Okay. And the question you brought up, Tim, leads right into the next one is
gotcha.
Can Akamoto play a solid left field, and how much better is his hit tool than the Murakami, which we kind of brushed on already a little bit?
So I think his hit tool is a lot better than Murakami's from just like a pure hit tool standpoint. That's not to say that Murakami can't figure it out and start hitting with more of like a hit tool aspect. And again, like we've talked about, just the ability to hit off balance like really hard. Akamoto, I think it depends on the team, right? Like if you're Houston, I kind of mentioned this on the podcast and kind of brushed it off at like he's not going to Houston. But to be honest with you, like the more I thought about it, I was like, oh, like Houston actually might be a good fit, because if you stick him in like left field in front of the Crawford boxes, it might be an easier left field to play than like say some other places. So I think he can play a solid left field. I wouldn't stick him in left field like all the time. I personally wouldn't play him in left field. I'd probably just stick him at first base. I actually think he's a pretty good first baseman. And just his footwork is really good, and like he understands positioning on the bag and stuff like that. So I think this is like a first baseman who you're expecting like an 800 OPS from is kind of like what I see out of him in terms of like a hitter. And so again, a lot of teams might see that as like a safer option than say a Murakami, because again the hit tools are like not like so far apart that it's impossible, but Akamoto clearly has a better hit tool than Murakami.
Okay,
cool.
And any other questions that you seen there, Tim?
Let's see. There was another one from Showtime. It was pinned on the other one. What level? Well, I don't know if it's now. It's relating to Sung Moon Song.
Okay, yeah.
So we'll get to that later.
We can get to that a little bit later. Yeah. I do have the reverse splits for Murakami. So against left-handed pitchers, he had a 930 OPS,
Okay.
and against right-handed pitchers, he had an 846 OPS. And left-handed pitchers, he had a 27% K rate. Right-handed pitchers, he had a 30% K rate. So again, a lot of that time facing righties, it's probably like a lot of splitters away, cutters in, fastballs in on him. Like I think that's going to be the biggest thing for Murakami is like handling the transition of like, can I attack these high fastballs that are coming into me, these cutters that are coming into me, and then the splitters away and like the breaking balls away. I think Okamoto is going to have less of an issue transitioning in terms of like figuring out MLB pitching and stuff like that.
Okay.
Okay.
So let's transition over to Song Soo Moon.
Yeah.
A guy who's kind of being overlooked in regards to the Murakami and the group that's that's coming out of the NPB. Moon's a solid is a solid hitter, very athletic, has a lot of stolen bases. His first his first few seasons weren't all that great, and then he had to go over into fulfill his duty in the military, where he missed a couple of years, and
Yeah.
and it seems like 2024 and 2025 were his breakout years. What can you tell us about him?
Yeah, so for him, he's kind of under the radar because like these last two seasons, like 2024 and 2025, are his best seasons as a professional player. Like he just is impacting the ball more. He's actually like hitting the ball with and impacting it. He's working doubles, working walks, hitting the ball in the gap for doubles and stuff like that. So in terms of him as a player, like a lot of people have been saying like he's a late bloomer. Like he's very much like it took till his like age 28, 27, 26 season to really like figure out exactly what he was as a baseball player. And then you've kind of seen it with like the last two seasons. He's put up some pretty good numbers. Like he was one of the best players in Korea last year in terms of just from like a pure production standpoint.
Okay. And he's very athletic also. I mean, I think, I wrote an article on him. I mean, just in his time, I mean, he's had, 51 total stolen bases, 454 RBIs, 80 home runs, out of 824 games, that he's played, and the reason why I bring him up is, I've known about him for a little bit. I'd seen an article or, a posting, how he may be linked to the Dodgers as the successor for Max Muncy. What what are your thoughts? And also, Showtime brings up a good point, and on how he's friends with Hassan Kim, already, and they were teammates on the same team together. Could you actually see him, coming in this year, say like the Dodgers pick him up this year, maybe put him down into, the minors or Oklahoma or something, or just, be a bench player or whatever. And then they kind of transition him into a Muncy replacement, or is that a little too high?
I see him more as like a platoon player. Like you can play him. Some people see him as like a regular. Like you can give him regular bats on a good team, and he could be like your 8 or 9 hitter. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens with him because like not that it like came out of nowhere, because like he was very good in KBO the last 2 seasons, and especially this past season. Like I pulled up you mentioned Kiwoom and how he was teammates with Ha-Seong Kim, but he's also teammates with Ha-Seong Kim, who was on that Kiwoom team, and then also Jung-Hoo Lee was on that Kiwoom team as well. So there's 4 guys that Kiwoom is kind of the KBO team that's like producing these position players. So like just to compare like their last full seasons, so like Sung Moon like last 2025 season had a 917 OPS. Ha-Seong Kim had a 920 OPS in his last full season. I don't count 2025 for Jung-Hoo Lee. He only played 86 games. His last full season at 142 games, he had a 996 OPS. And then I believe Ha-Seong Kim had a 842 OPS in 2023 and an 841 OPS in 2024. So again, very comparable in terms of like the leagues they were playing in, the talent they were playing against. The numbers look like decently comparable to like a Ha-Seong Kim or even a Ha-Seong Kim. He offensively, he's probably a little better than Ha-Seong is. In terms of defensively, I just think Ha-Seong is like very much a utility guy that you can like throw around the infield and like he'll play anywhere like at a very above average position. For Moon specifically, I think he's a solid third baseman. He actually by our defensive run save numbers in Sports Info Solutions with KBO, he was one of the league leaders in defensive run saved for us. With a pretty positive number in terms of like just the ability to make plays in 2025, but in 2024 he like wasn't as good. He just wasn't, for some reason he just wasn't as good a defender. So I think he's somewhere as like a average to solid defender. He has experience playing at second base, third base, first base, so like you could move him around the infield, and maybe that's what the Dodgers are thinking. Like we have Ha-Seong Kim, we could play him in all these positions. We also have this chance to get Moon, and we can play him in a bunch of different positions as well. So we'll see what happens with Sung Moon. I just I don't really like the whole thing. For me is like all the other three guys were kind of good like for most of their KBO career, and Sung Moon kind of like came on really late and just was like really good these last two seasons. To kind of answer the question that Showtime has, like what level of minor league baseball is closest to KBO, I was talking to someone about this yesterday. It's really hard to like put exactly what it is. It's probably like high A to double A. The variance in terms of talent from like the bottom of the lineup to the top of the lineup is like very drastic. In terms of like the worst hitters in KBO are like pretty not unplayable, but they're just like defensive minded, don't really hit the baseball, don't impact the baseball hard. Where you get like a Sung Moon who's like, I think he's good enough to be like a platoon player in MLB at some point. Or like you could drop him into AAA next year in Oklahoma City, and he'd probably be pretty fine from that standpoint. So yeah, in terms of like the skill level, probably high A, double A. Some of the defense over there in KBO is just not the best in terms of like positioning. Even like they don't position players as well as you would over here in MLB and stuff like that. So it's a weird variance in terms of like gauging what the actual skill level these guys are facing. I will say in KBO, they probably face a little bit more velocity than you would in like MPB. So so that might be a thing where like they can transition a little bit easier than MPB, or like they've seen it. Because earlier today I was watching Sung Moon, and he took Cody Ponce to right center on a middle end fastball at like 94, 95. So clearly he has like the talent to do that. It's just about the consistency and getting to that consistent talent level, as a baseball player.
KBO and MPB have the same ball?
I don't think the balls are the exact same. And again, I think this is why like the velo's a little bit different in KBO.
Yeah.
I think it might be a little bit more of a tackier ball. Again, I've never like confirmed this with anyone, but just like watching KBO, they're slightly different balls, but they're pretty similar in terms of the balls. And just like they're a little bit smaller, they're tackier. I think the KBO ball is a little bit tackier, so you can kind of like get on the ball and like backspin it. And again, you'll get like guys who get like really good ride and vertical ride. So like Cody Ponce is a really good example of a pitcher who like wasn't very good the last couple of seasons in MPB, goes over to KBO, starts throwing harder, has more ride on his fastball, adds a kick change. All of a sudden he breaks the strikeout record in Korea. Like he dominated guys over there. So so I think they're slightly similar balls, but not the exact same.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then one last question for you.
Gotcha.
And unless Tim has something for you. What do you think Moon's gonna? And this is from Showtime.
Yeah.
What do you think his contract? Do you think he'll get the same contract as Haisong? At
Um,
3 years, 12.5, or a little below, little more. Because his power is his power is a little bit more than than Haisong.
Yeah, I would say he's a better offensive player than Haisong is. I think he gets a little bit more than that, but like not that much more. I don't see like a Jungkook Lee type contract or even like a Hasan Kim's contract. I just think those two guys coming over were just better players. But I do think Sung Moon is like, again, like a platoon type bat where like if you put him in the right situation and you have him play like third base like every third day or every fourth day and he faces the right pitching and you get him comfortable with like MLB pitching and just like kind of ease him in, I could totally see like a three for 12 and a half,
Okay.
or 3 for 15, or if he wants to go 4. He's a little bit older. I think he's 29.
Yeah.
So like you could give him like a 4-year deal with some opt-outs as well. Like we didn't really mention that with Murakami, but like a team's probably going to pay Murakami where they're probably going to give him like over 100 million. And like, I don't know if I would do that, but also if I'm a team, if I put in like a couple of options, a couple of like outs basically in the contract, like let's say like 2 years in, I can get out of the contract. That's not a bad idea. So maybe something similar with Sung Moon where it's like there's a couple of options in there or something like that, and so we can make a little bit more money than Haisung did.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, I'm also interested what the Dodgers are going to do with Haisung because you do have him for like $4 million, and he is like a good utility player, like in terms of defense.
Yeah. He just didn't have the chance to play.
Yeah.
He came out. He did okay. For a little bit. He struggled a little bit. For Oklahoma. Because I watched like almost every single game. For Oklahoma. And and then all of a sudden it seemed like something clicked for him. The coaching staff for Oklahoma, their pitching staff, their hitting staff is top notch.
Yeah.
And what they did for him just totally turned it around for him. He stopped with that, with that leg, his front leg twist,
the little twist and pause.
Yeah. And he planted that foot, and then he started hitting home runs. He started hitting balls in the gap. Started hitting stuff opposite field. So I think once this offseason for him and going into spring training is going to benefit him quite a bit, and especially, with Tommy Edman, having his surgery that he has, I personally, I don't think he's going to be, I don't think the Dodgers should rush Tommy Edman back anytime soon. Let that ankle heal, let him, do his thing, and let Haisong go in and play like the first month, of the regular season, so they can actually really see and give him the runway, to do what, I think, and I think that you would think that he can actually produce and do very well and become a good utility player. He's not going to go out and hit the ball over over. That's not, in my opinion, I don't think that's what he needs to do.
Yeah, that's not who he is.
He needs to get on base so he can steal bases with his speed and be able to score.
Yeah, and maybe that's why like the rumors of Sung Moon are like a thing, because like I think the Dodgers and most of baseball is keenly aware like you can't just run out 9 guys every day. Like you're just not going to get through a full season with like 9 dudes. Like it's just very hard to do that. So to have bench pieces and options that have a little bit of flexibility and stuff like that, like maybe that does push Sung Moon's market a little bit higher. And again, Haisung, I think, because of the versatility and the ability to play multiple positions, like helps him out in terms of like you can find a spot for him on the field. He just, again, like you said, he just didn't have a chance last year because of just the circumstances. But there's a reason he signed with the Dodgers, and I think it's from like a player development standpoint. Like might be the correct decision in terms of that for him.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a big HSK fan. I think that what happened with him last year, he would have a good game, then sit for 3 games, have a good game, sit for 3.
Yeah, that's hard.
And then when he was finally getting a chance, he was actually hurt. He was playing through all that stuff. But my man, Showtime LA has one last question. It's a really good one. He's talking about Roki. Last question, I promise. Did Roki's first season change your opinion on his ceiling? I feel his inability to generate elite spin hurts him when he may be a reliever long term.
Yeah. So Showtime's probably asking the person that's the highest on Roki. I think he's like one of the best pitching talents I've ever seen. Um to your point about generating elite spin, he reminds me of a lot of like a Logan Gilbert. Like Logan Gilbert is a long,
Oh,
tall person
oh, totally.
who can't generate elite spin, but he throws the ball hard. Can he get to all these different pitch shapes? Like that's the thing with Roki is like, can he add like a cutter or add something to help his fastball? Or can he just get back to throwing 100 with 20 inches of ride? Because if he gets back to that, then like we're talking about a completely different pitcher. And that's, I think that might have been my pitfall in like scouting him, is like I saw 2022 and was like, oh my God, this might be like the best pitcher on the planet. Like, I can't believe
Right.
he throws fastballs at 101 with 22 inches of vertical movement and stuff like that. But yeah, or yeah, like his splitter is an 80 grade splitter, like it's all world. So yeah, there is like long-term reliever risk with him. There just is. But there's been people who have mentioned it. Like I think RM Layton at Just Baseball mentioned it. Like if he's Johan Duran, like that's not really like a terrible thing. It's just not what we expected from like Roki Sasaki. So yeah.
Yeah, and it doesn't pay as much either. To be
No,
honest.
it doesn't. Yeah, which is why, again, like I think he's gonna start next season, and I think he's made it very clear. I think the Dodgers have made it clear that he's gonna start because I think he basically told the Dodgers, "Well, I'm only signing here if I don't start." So
Right.
yeah, exactly. Let's turn him back into an IVB merchant again. Like the stuff he was doing at the WBC with MLB ball, it's just like.
Yeah,
I've never seen a guy do the stuff that he was doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one last question for me, since we're on the Roki thing.
Yeah.
And something that's always like been very curious for me, because I could never find anything out. And so with your connections that you have, in the NPB and the folks that you know over there, what actually was Sasaki's injury?
Oof. I've still gotten cryptic stuff over that. Like, from what I've heard from people, is like it was anywhere from like the oblique was like a real problem. Like the oblique injury he had was like a real issue, and then also like his shoulder just wasn't the same, or like he had dead arm, and then he was trying to like figure a way to like pitch through it. And I think that's what it was. Because even when I was scouting him, I was like, okay, like 2024 was not good.
No.
And like the fastball doesn't look as good as it used to be, but like there was flashes where he would still throw 100 and stuff like that, and you're like, okay, like can he get back to that type of stuff? And I think we saw in the playoffs, like he kind of fixed his mechanics a little bit and got back to it. I think it was a multitude of injuries, if I'm being honest. Like I think there was multiple things that he was kind of like pitching through because he had this agreement with Lotte, like. They're going to post me at the end of the season. Like, if I sit out for 4 months, they might be like, hey, man, like, we can't post you. Like, you got to pitch. Like, we came to this agreement before you signed the deal with us, at the draft. Like, you have to pitch this season. And so that might have been part of it, too. And then he's trying to pitch through it with the Dodgers as well. He's trying to live up to all this hype and stuff like that. So, yeah.
I think him going to Oklahoma.
Oh, I think that was the best thing for him. Yeah.
I think that was the best call for him. I actually, when he signed, I actually threw out the comment that they should just automatically just stick him there and
figure it out. Yeah.
And figure it out just from his injury alone, his oblique and whatever it was. I thought it was his forearm
forearm. I've heard everything from like forearm to shoulder. Like I've heard random stuff about it.
Because he's always been known to have, problem with blisters on his throwing hand.
Yep.
So, that wasn't like a big thing for me. My big thing was, his forearm, his oblique, and I think he just would have been able to flourish, going straight to Oklahoma. And like I said, the pitching coaches there are top notch. Let them deal with him and work out his mechanics and see how they can fix him. Because that was part of his agreement, when he was going to teams, how can you fix
can you fix this? Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, it looks like the Dodgers found something in him because they don't win a World Series without Roki Sasaki becoming an open stud. Yeah. How about that, man?
So, thanks, Brandon, man. I totally appreciate you coming on.
That was great, man. I learned a heck of a lot.
like I said, I've been watching you and Cosmopolitan for a while now, and I've always wanted to get either one of you on or both of you on the show, because your knowledge is just next level, more than anybody that I've seen, writing about these guys. And in my opinion, a lot of people get things wrong, and you guys just dive right into it. And one thing that I want to end on, and then I'll throw it over to you, Tim. I'd love to get you back on the show again, maybe after all the draft is done, and maybe before sometime in spring training,
Yeah.
because I really want to talk about. I'm trying to figure out how to pronounce his name. The Terminator, on him Mins.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
The South Korean
Yep.
kid who's just got crazy power.
Yeah. He's interesting. Like
Yeah,
he hits the ball a long way. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So I'll throw it over to you, Tim.
Yeah, I have pinned Brandon's latest article at the top of the chat. It's also in the description. So please check it out. We appreciate that. People will come on our show if they get some more love. So let's,
I
we want
appreciate it.
we want that. So Brandon, I really appreciate you, man. That was great. I learned a heck of a lot. Um, I I just don't dive into that. That's Mike's area, and but I learned a lot because just about any player there's always that connection. Oh my gosh, he's going to be a Dodger. He fits right in,
Yeah.
and sometimes it is the case. Of course, the funniest thing was Haesung Kim was not connected to him. That came out of
Very late
nowhere.
signing. Yeah. I will say the KBO stuff, I would not be shocked if Sung Moon is like very late, 2 days left. Like
Yep.
he's connected to some random team that just no one's really heard. So yeah, the KBO stuff it's a little bit more less fanfare, I guess,
Yeah.
is what you
Right.
would say with those guys. Yeah. So
Well, it's cool. It's part of the new reality of Major League Baseball. Baseball is truly an international sport. We've got the World Baseball Classic coming up. I'm sure you're going to be all over that. Mike is too. Just it's and WBC is a great thing. I just hope they don't kill all the Dodger players.
yeah, yeah. If they'll let him play, yeah. Well, that's a
Yeah.
completely different discussion.
It'll be interesting to see, especially with Roki.
Yeah.
That'd be really interesting to see what they do with him. Well,
Yeah.
thank you, sir. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Brandon.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you guys so much.
All right, thanks. And we're gonna sign off now, I guess. Because I got to get back to the garage.
Yeah.
Got a lot of work to
Thank
do.
y'all. I'll see y'all later.
All right. Thanks, Brandon. Appreciate you.
Cool, man. All right, and as always, Mike, let's send this one out.
Oh, we got a super chat.
Yeah, look at that, Carlos Garcia coming out. Yeah, that was really cool. Thanks for doing that, Mike. That worked out as good as it really well. I mean, it was great. That was great information, and he was great. I really appreciated his for his enthusiasm and just being into it, man. It was great, and his knowledge, of course, is just fantastic. But
yeah, and that's why I wanted to get him on, because you don't see somebody like that coming onto shows.
Yeah.
His knowledge and Yaka it's just tremendous. I watch their stuff. I watch, a lot of MPB stuff, a lot of KBO stuff, and what I see, I kind of run it through I instantly get onto their channels and, am I thinking the right thing? Am I not thinking the right? What am I missing?
right.
And so they kind of validate things for me. So,
Yep.
I hope everybody in the chat learned something today or tonight. And truly, please share this podcast to get this out, because there was a lot of great information that Brandon, spit out, and that will help a lot of people understand, Murakami, Amai, Yamamoto, all these guys that are coming up through the NPB and the KBO, and just so they can start getting things a little bit more polished than what's being thrown out there.
Yeah, and we know that the Dodgers are not going to sign all 4 of these guys.
No.
They might not sign any of them, but
Yeah.
guess what? The Dodgers are going to play these guys, and
Mhm.
now you guys at least, and myself, we have a clue now to what these guys might look like. If Amai doesn't sign with the Giants, I'm going to be shocked.
Yeah.
That just makes all the sense in the
Oh
world.
yeah. 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 He was my number one. That was my number one destination for him. And I completely agree with you, Tim. I have Arizona as my number 3 spot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's the West makes a lot of sense
Mhm.
for these guys. It's shorter
Mhm.
flight to Japan. You add the extra 5 hours if you're going to New York, or well, they're not going to go to Florida. Well, you never know,
Yeah.
Philadelphia or wherever. It's a longer thing, and they're even further away from their families and everything like that. But the good thing is the Dodgers have certain needs. And I don't know if any, how many of these. I mean, like I say, you can never have enough pitching. But I just don't see them throwing 170 to 200 million out at,
Mhm.
at anybody right now. Um, and right now there's not that fit to go. Oh, hey, where's that right fielder? Where's that center fielder? Doesn't seem like that's the fit coming. So it wouldn't be surprising if the Dodgers didn't sign any of these big guys. Even though I'm going to keep my eye on Sung Moon. I think
Yeah.
it's kind of an interesting thing. I like that idea of him. Um, so the question is he willing to go start in OKC?
Mhm.
Um, but still with the contract.
Yeah.
Um, you know, uh, HSK and Roki both made a call to go to the Dodgers for specific reasons. It's not just the money. It was about, hey, this is a place I can go play
Mhm.
where I could learn. I mean, Hae-Sung Kim could have gone to the Angels.
Yeah.
Allegedly they offered more. So, you know, let's see. I mean, I'm kind of excited about it. We'll see. We'll just that's what the off season's for.
Yep.
By the time FanFest comes around, we're gonna know a lot of these things, and until then, who knows? And then maybe we can, even if they sign with someone else, maybe Brandon will come on. We can talk about it a little bit
Oh
more.
yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Just the as the gosh, man, the winter meetings start in
Boom.
9 days, 10 days,
Yeah.
or something like that.
Yep.
Um, and so things are going to be getting hot and heavy. We'll be on a bit more. Of course, the holidays are rounding into shape. We do have a little bit of a break.
Yep.
We've got alleged Black Friday. I don't know. Black Friday just doesn't seem to be very profitable anymore. I mean, even Costco, half the parking lot was empty. I had to go there. I bought 14 different plastic containers to do work, boxes to load in. So let's see what he's got here. We got Showtime. Now Jays might be on Tucker now, huh? That'll be interesting what the Jays do. I mean, I honestly, I don't care what all those other things say. I think Cease got way overpaid. He's a
Oh yeah. Yeah.
proven playoff choker, um, big game guy. Pass. I think he's a nice pitcher, but he's not even in the dot. He wouldn't crack the Dodgers rotation right now.
No.
I mean, I'd rather have Sheehan than him.
Yeah.
I mean, at least Sheehan nutted up. He had finally got some success in there. But yeah, the news about Tucker. I mean, if the Dodgers, that is the dream scenario for Tucker. Just get that for the
Oh yeah.
Dodgers regarding Tucker.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah. Yeah.
shorter AAV, and with the looming lockout. I mean, if he gets a chance to get 40 million or 45 million in 1 year and then opt out, okay. Why not?
I mean, no, who knows what Andrew Freeman's going to do, man? He's just
Exactly.
that dude's just got his brain turns and he figures things out and he can totally figure out a deal and convince the agent and the player because it's hard to to pass up. When you're going to be going for a three-peat, you're always in the playoffs.
Mhm.
You're always in the hunt to be a contention, to go into the World Series, and win it. That's a hard thing to pass up.
Yeah. No, I think they just can't. I mean, they have to do that type of thing to go. The windows, it's right. It's still wide open,
Hmm.
but we see some fraying with Freddie's not quite the numbers he had his first 2 years with the Dodgers.
Yep.
Mookie took the turn. Hopefully he can rebound. Teoscar, forget about the defense. His offense was not as good, and he was nicked up all year. So Blake Snell's going to be 33. Glasnow's going to be 32. Shohei's going to be 32. It all starts adding up.
Hmm.
Like Showtime LA saying, give Tucker $55 million a year with the opt out after every year, man.
There you go.
And another thing, like we say on this channel, it's not my money. I really don't care. I really like buying World Series merchandise and going to parades and all that type of stuff.
Yep.
And walking around San Diego with my gear on. I mean, my goodness. So yeah, I think Andrew Freeman, they're good. He's a Hall of Fame GM,
Hmm.
and he's his boss is a Hall of Famer in Stan Kasten, at least he should be.
Yeah.
So they know what they're doing. They know that this is a huge thing. And Shohei told Stan Kasten, only 8 more to go, or something like that, because he's going, he's 2 for 2 now, and I think that Shohei likes winning also.
Hmm.
And it's only helped the Dodgers. The Dodgers are making hand over fist. The Padres are, as an example, are bringing in a lot of fans, but they're not making a ton of money.
Oh yeah. Yep.
And yeah, I'm gonna dip into this for a second, because I just got a feeling now Diaz is not going to shock me anymore if the Dodgers if they go get him. It's just not. I don't know if you saw it, but there was some I guess some snarkiness with the Mets in 2025, where McNeil and what's his name, Lindor didn't get along well, and then Lindor and Soto didn't get along well, and good Lord, what a mess. Money can't buy you happiness. It can buy you. It can buy you a lot, but it can't buy you love.
Hmm.
And that's why Cohen's got his money, but you got to put together a team, and I still think that's why the Dodgers are what they are. And if Diaz wants a chance to win, you got a much better chance with the Dodgers. I know it's again it's a lot of money. You can never have enough pitching. Pitchers break, and all that. It's not my money, but I think that if they have problems like that in the clubhouse, you come to our place and there is nothing like that.
Oh yeah. Yep.
No.
No
And
doubt
I
about
still
it.
think Evan Phillips coming back. I'm not worried about that. If he
I'll-
does, they'll find something for him.
I'll be shocked if he doesn't come back.
Yeah, me too. So, and I think that's already been talked about. I think it's probably like there with probably the same thing with Kike. They probably said, "Hey, look, here's what we're willing to give you on the free agent market. If you get a better offer, come back. Talk to us first. Don't and see if we'll match it. They probably will, and then move on with them. But if some team comes in and says, "Hey, Evan Phillips, we're giving you 3 years, $30 million a year," the Dodgers go, "Evan Phillips, thank you for your service. Good luck." And then and I would say the same thing to him too. Like, man, someone's gonna give him that type of money, but I don't think they will. You never know with these bullpen guys. I mean,
Well, that and I think it's going to be a little bit tough, because if he comes back, this is going to be his first full season, with his buddy Tanner Scott, and so I think that both of them in the pin together, I think it will benefit both of them. They will encourage one another. They will, and that's why I was hoping that um, that he would come back, because I think that's just going to be a huge benefit for Tanner Scott, and I truly believe, I think we're going to see a completely different uh, closer, next year.
yeah, I'm hoping that I just hope they use Tanner Scott better.
Hmm.
He's just use him. He's a fireman. He's a guy who comes in, puts out the fire. He comes in, gets hard left-handers out. That's what you do. The Padres use them that way. The Marlins use them that way. They use them as closers too, but you can mix it up. But be based on the situation. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it's that necessary. I think the Dodgers mess with them. Don't mess with success.
Hmm.
But yeah, bullpen. Of course, there's a lot of good names out there. Our starting pitching is loaded. And I know other people are going, there's no way the Dodgers trade Glass now. I do think there's a lane for him to be traded.
Yeah.
But it's not because he sucks. Because I was probably the only one of all you people on the chat that believed in Glasnow saying he was going to pitch in October. Everyone else like, he's going to be gone in October. Now they're like, oh my gosh, we got to keep him. Like,
You know how everybody gets, man. They're all up and down.
But I think there's a lane for that. But it's like a lane of, okay, it's part of the Scooble trade.
Yeah.
Something like that. It's not like, oh, we're going to trade him for. So I'm going to talk. People are like, oh, we want Duran. We want Duran. I don't think Duran's a guy that the Dodgers will get. With he's had issues, some major issues too. I mean, personal issues, and we only hope the best for him.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think the Dodgers are going to do that. So that's. But hey, I've been wrong before. I will be wrong again. There's no doubt about that. Yeah, Scooble trade. That's like the only way. The Dodgers aren't going to go, hey, you know what? We're going to turn the ball over for sure to Roki Sasaki, or to River Ryan coming off Tommy John, or Gavin Stone coming off shoulder surgery.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be smart about this, and they also know. Of course, we know we don't need Glass now until. Start him like in August,
Mm-hmm.
And other teams they can't use him like that. They have to try to get 200 innings out of him, and we're like, no, we just need like 50 out of him.
Yeah. What do you mean Showtime? Do you mean as far as like prospects trade?
Talking about which one's to trade? I think that's what he's talking about. Or are you talking about who we trade for? I like Abreu with the Red Sox. If we're going to trade with the Red Sox.
The guy who I really wanted was, and I get it. I really wanted Ward. That's who I really wanted.
There's one happening now. There's actually a better chance of it now.
Yeah, now they're
on the Orioles.
Yeah,
so that's where if the Orioles are out of it, Dodgers now can go for it and get him. Yeah, I'm with you on that too. Yeah. Trade targets. My trade targets, man. Yeah, I like Abreu. I still like the free agent market better.
Mm-hmm.
Just the Kyle Tucker stuff of it would be a short-term thing, and maybe Bellinger too. Who knows? I'm not as high on Bellinger as I am on Tucker, but if the money does matter to the Dodgers, and if we get Cody, I'm not unhappy.
Mm-hmm.
Let's put it that way.
Yeah,
but I'm still in on. I want Bichette. That's the guy I want. I want Bichette at second base, and put whatever. I don't care where Edmund plays. He'll play all over the place. Yeah. Yeah, we disagree on Durant, and the reason we disagree on Durant is because you guys forget that the Dodgers are particular about the players that they get.
Mm-hmm.
Go read his biography, and you tell me if he sounds like a Dodger. That's all I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
I like him as a player. I think he's fun to watch. First of all, I mean, he's just like, hey, I'm going to go do things. I'm going to do things very fast. I'm a fan of that. But if you go look at his biography, I don't think the Dodgers will be making a move for him.
No, and I agree with that. I do like him. Showtime. I do like him as a player. I like him as a batter. I like him in the outfield. He was a guy that I was had my eye on. But the thing is like we're able to, not all the time, but we do occasionally, get into the locker room and we see, what goes on in there, and someone like Duran, with some of the shortcomings that he has, just it doesn't fit in like that.
Let's see. I want to, yeah. Russman Carino brings up, please subscribe. But hey, people, please, right now, hit the like button.
Mhm.
That's all I ask. Hit the like button.
Share it.
Do that, man. If we just start getting likes, we'll start doing better. And I think so. I'm with Showtime LA on this one too. I think you got to hold as much of the pitching as you can.
Mm-hmm.
Because Sammy brought it up earlier about someone's going to go down. It's not going to be one. It's going to be 4 or 5 of them. I mean, that's what we saw last year. We had, the beginning of the season, we had guys going down. The only guy that was not going down was Yosh.
Yeah, Yamamoto.
And then, even Dustin May he was trying to come back. He was shaky and, I mean, there was just so much last year of injuries. Glasnow was out. Snell was out after 2 starts. I mean, that was just the way it was, and it'll be that way again. But that's why it gives those young guys a shot.
Yep.
So I think Showtime and I agree on that. Yeah, I like talent also on Duran, and it's not necessarily character. Okay, it's just more of, does he fit, and do they want the baggage?
Mm-hmm.
Because his story was, he tried to self-delete himself in 2022, and he shared that, and that's a big deal. Then he also had something where he said a bad word a couple times to a certain community did not like, and he paid a price for that.
Mm-hmm.
But the Dodgers they've brought guys in. They've taken chances, and sometimes they haven't worked. I mean, the Bauer thing did not work. Whether he's innocent or not, it didn't work. Okay, here we go. Jackson Ferris, because I'm seeing people throw his name in the trade hopper, like, we just got to trade, got to get rid of him, and yeah.
He's got too much talent. He's got too much upside. Granted, he didn't have the year that he had in 2024, like 2023. But he did turn things around right before the break, and he was a lot more consistent at the end of the season. I definitely see Ferris being promoted to Oklahoma this year. I'm actually going to be surprised if they don't promote him, with the amount of openings that they have there. If you go look at the page for OKC, I mean, it's a skeleton crew right now, so there's going to be, a lot of movement. I'm curious to see who's going to be moved up. I'm not going to be surprised if Hope and DePaula, if they're still here, who knows what's going to happen, same with Jackson Ferris. I don't agree with everybody's, a thing of, wanting to get rid of him because, the Dodgers has the worst, uh, farm system ever and blah blah blah, and it's just, I just don't agree with that stuff, man. You don't become the number one, farm system in 2024 having, having the worst players.
Right.
Yeah, they're granted, a lot of these first round, second round players, that are being drafted, are doing well. But, our draft picks aren't doing that bad either right now. They're doing, pretty decent. It's just going to be a matter, if can they just keep pushing from tower buzzers to the loons to,
Yeah.
to Tulsa.
And it's that, and we've talked about it earlier. It's just we got that big gap.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, our main prospects, other than Ferris, because I do agree that he should. I don't know if he's going to start, but I would like him to start there, to be honest with
Mhm.
you. But after Ferris, there's nothing except in the guys that got cups of coffee in Double A.
Mhm.
I mean, everything else in there. I mean, Freeland has already been up. Rushing's been up. And Ferris hopefully will get his chance soon. Thank you, Carlos. Do Kike and Miggy get re-signed? I think it's 100%. 100%.
I'm 50-50 on that. I
Yeah.
think one of them does.
I'll bet a lot of money on that one.
Yeah. I'm not I'm not gonna be surprised, but, I'm skeptical. Um, me personally, I'm not disagreeing with Tim. I think, eventually there's a high probability they both come back, but I'm not gonna be surprised if Mickey comes back and Kike gets traded.
Well, Kike's a free agent. He can't get traded.
Or, I mean, Kike's gone.
Yeah. Well, Kike. So what'll happen is Kike. He's out for at least a couple months. They'll sign him, and he's going to go right on the 60-day injured list. It made the scenario even more perfect. That's why I'm like, it's 100% now. And you cannot let Miggy Rowe go.
No.
That's impossible.
Yeah.
That guy needs to be absolutely celebrated. It is his last year. He says it. But he needs at least to get that big celebration. I mean, that's, just looking back, it's like, that might have been the most important home run in Dodger history. I mean, they were 2 outs away. 2 outs away to losing it. And that dude, and just the defensive plays he made. It's just, he's going to get his love. Kike is going to get his love too. It's interesting to find out how bad he was hurt. That the bone was, or the
detachment
was coming off the bone and everything like that. Good Lord. And he still played.
Yeah.
But his numbers did go down after he got hurt again. And that was in game 5. Game 3 against the Brewers, where he dove for that ball that turned into a triple. And that made it worse. And if you look at his numbers, they started going down after that in the playoffs.
And don't forget about Serwanowski either. Showtime.
Yeah,
he's a good one.
Yep. Well, and that's
and Hubick.
He's eligible for the Rule 5. I don't think he's going to get taken because I just don't see them being able to hold there. But yeah, Zazueta is just he's a very young dude still. And what I'm noting, he's just kind of like that floppy animal, that's growing, and then all of a sudden they're solid. He's just kind of floppy right now, but he's getting into his body. He's a big kid, and he's become a legit prospect. I'm I don't know if I'm surprised or not. I know they got him. Was he for Caleb Ferguson? I think he was for Caleb Ferguson. He was either the Caleb Ferguson or because they did they traded Victor and Caleb that same offseason. Victor Gonzalez and Caleb Ferguson. I know Vivas went over there in one of those trades too. Vivas, definitely one of my all-time favorites. But yeah, I mean it's going to be. I'm looking forward to seeing how these draft picks from this year come around because a lot of good first impressions that were made, and then the guys that they've traded for. I mean, in their top 30, there are 6 guys that they traded for. That's impressive.
Yep.
So they're not just building from the draft and internationals; they're doing their things. Oh yeah. I'm with the Showtime. I'm a big fan of Hubick. That guy's been kind to me and cooperative from day one, literally day one. Just amazing. Great kid. But thanks again, Carlos, for the 199. We totally appreciate that.
Carlos is the man.
I know.
He's been supporting my my Substack, and I couldn't appreciate him more. You know, he's just a great supporter, of our channel, the Substack that I have, and he's a supporter of all the channels.
Yep.
I'm just gonna say that.
We appreciate
He's
it.
just an awesome guy.
And okay, that's interesting. I haven't seen anything of Root myself, but if he has Gavin Stone written all over him, I'll take it. So will it be disappointing if Dodgers don't get any outfielder player and just use their 40 and farm? Yeah, for me it would be.
Me too.
I think. Well, so I'm going to go. My first level of disappointment would be if Teoscar Hernandez
Is in
is
right
in
field.
right field. I can take anything else, but that has to be. That was, and hey, I'm gonna wear that one because I thought he would at least be a little bit better because allegedly he was comfortable out there. Lord help me, that guy was not. Whatever, if that's comfort, we got to redefine comfort because that he was terrible out there.
Yeah,
and I would hope that he would be the left fielder, but no matter what, if we have a different left fielder and a different center fielder, we cannot have Teo and right. That would mean you would move him. I don't think they're going to move him, but again, there's always a lane for him to be moved.
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah.
you look at you watch those postseason things though, and they're not showing his defensive problems, but they are showing his offense. And I swear, man, he's just a huge part of the team. He's not afraid of the postseason, and just impressive. And one of our best, one of the best signings. He's 2 for 2 as a Dodger himself.
Yep.
I love it, and but it whatever. Maybe he wants to go back to Toronto. I don't know.
That's
he seems to like it there.
I mean that's my number one actually. Is a player in the outfield is my number one, and my number two is possibly a bullpen.
Yeah.
Piece.
Yep. Yeah. For me, my number one is just Teo out of right, and from there we move from there. I think we could do a lot of things, but that means, in my opinion, if he goes to left, Ryan Ward has no place, and it means that Dalton Rushing doesn't get much of a run out there. Even though they're talking about, I don't know what they're really doing with that.
Well, I mean, Ward can play decent right field. I mean,
They're saying he's bad.
I do not agree with that at all.
Okay.
I do not agree with that. I don't. People do look at Matrix. I watch the guy on the field. I see him diving for balls. I see him catching balls, putting his glove over the fence, saving home runs, in right field. I see him, running super fast and making a diving play out of left field. I see him, diving, left and right, when he's playing center field. He's, his speed is gotten a lot better, and his defense has gotten a lot better. Yeah, it wasn't all that great, for a little while, but for people to say, that his defense is the down. No, for me, it's not.
I know, but so the eye says, and this is where I'm going to disagree with you. Not necessarily on this. I don't care if a guy dives. It may mean that he got a bad jump.
No,
that's
I mean
why he had to dive, and so that's why I don't. The eye test is, I can see it with the arm. It's tough to see with the jump though. That's where the metrics get in there.
He has good jumps. I'm just saying. He's able to go, and a blue ball that hits. He's sprinting and diving for the ball to make the play.
Well, that's an upgrade over Teo.
Yeah, he's going all out.
Yeah.
Well,
and that's good, but it's still got to be. We have to have at least a major league average outfielder in right field. We cannot have a negative out there. And so if Ward they think he could be an average guy out there, then go for it. But if not, it's going to be tough for him.
Hmm.
Um,
I think that he could be an average player, if they give him the chance,
yeah, and there's
and
always because I still don't know the reason why they never gave him a chance in the first place.
yeah.
That's where I'm just not a believer if they believe in him. Let's see. Dodgers don't believe in Ward's bat. Same way with Ryan Noda, Lipskis. Yeah. Well, but they did put him on the roster, so I'm going to give him. I mean, they believe in something now. Maybe they believe that he was going to get signed, and maybe he could be part of a trade. I don't know.
It's
I
it's
just hope he
kind of
gets a chance.
it's kind of hard for them not to believe in his bat when he's leading the PCL for 2 years in a row in home runs and RBIs.
I don't know. It's
So I
There's
don't
other
really.
things though. There's
Yeah.
other
I
things.
think it's more the defensive thing, than it is his bat.
So Sammy, I thought he was. He's not.
No.
He missed it by about. I'm going to say it was 12 days. I miscalculated when he got put on the injured list because that mattered. Uh, Showtime? Who are we talking about?
Oh, Sirota. Yeah.
Oh wow.
So Sirota's is a solid dude, man.
Yeah.
Solid guy. We weren't able to see, what he was going to be able to do because of his
Yeah.
injury that he had. I mean,
I saw one game.
yeah. Well, I virtually saw almost every game that he played, and
No, I mean live. I mean that's
oh yeah,
yeah.
I saw him play, for Rancho, in person and on TV. Saw him play live, almost every single game, when he went up to the Loons. So, yeah, he's his upside. I'm super high on Sirota right now. And again, he could be another Cartaya. He goes up, another level, and he could just totally flounder. I don't know. You know,
That was a legendary kerplunk on that one,
yeah.
man. Yeah, hepatitis. Yeah. Well, you're only looking at what's gone on the last few years. We haven't developed much. It's been a problem. We need to see some guys come out and be consistent hitters, but we had a glimpse of Outman, and then that died. But at least he did one major league season where he was good.
Hmm.
And then, Pages, I'm pleased with him. He had a really nice year this year. He was, definitely a guy that you go, huh, he's got a lot of value now. Worst case. Um, let's see. That very true about Sirota. I mean, that happens sometimes with guys come out of college and they take advantage of those levels. But one of the things I do like about Sirota is he just seems very dynamic.
He is. I mean, he's got excellent speed.
Yeah, got
You
some
know,
pop.
he's got. He's not. And this is the thing. Not every player is going to go out there and bust the ball. We don't need every single player to be hitting home runs all the time. It'd be nice to have a few on the team. But they need to complement. Sirota's the type of guy that he can put it over the fence. He has the power to
Mhm.
do that. But he needs, just like Ha-Seong Kim, like we talked about with Brandon, he needs to get on base so he can move from first, still second, and score from second base very easily from his speed.
Yeah. Well, and these guys are still developing.
Hmm.
I do think the Dodgers are going to try to do something with Kim and try to get him to get some more power. I don't know if I like that idea. um, but at the same time, you go, well, that guy's got about what 2% body fat.
Yeah, if
He's a
that.
stud, man.
Yeah.
He's just ripped. He was doing his workout. His legs are bursting out of his. He's got full pants on, his sweats, and his legs are bursting out of it.
Yeah.
Dude's ripped. Let's see. Sort of had a, yeah. There you go. Let's just hope so, right? Oh yeah. Oh, dude, I remember this. Scarred for life. You know how you wouldn't be scarred if they would have made that trade. I was all in on that. I would have traded the farm system for
I'm
Soto in a
scarred
heartbeat.
for life.
I would have, yeah. Well, it's such a gosh. It was such a I mean, the fall is just. I don't know what
Yeah.
to say. I just, it's just.
I'm scarred for life more over Keibert Ruiz more than Cartaya.
Keyword was actually good though
I
for a
love
while
that
now.
dude, man.
I do too. Let's see. Oh, Norm joined in. Let's see. Yeah, you get a slew of injuries. They're gonna get it. Yeah, absolutely. And that's why earlier, Norm, especially on the pitching side, both Showtime and LA were like, don't trade your pitching. You don't do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
You just can't really do. I'd much rather be trading from our outfielders that have barely touched double A and below. I'll trade any of those guys over our key starting pitchers. Oh man. Yeah. I mean, and the Dodgers were saying no on that. They were the ones saying no, allegedly. And thank goodness that didn't work out, because eventually we got Mookie Betts. It kind of all this, and we did sell high on Ruiz. Very much so. He got a nice contract though.
He did.
He did all right. Yeah, Lux turned into Sirota and another draft pick.
I mean, and I've said this before on here, you can go to every farm system
Mm-hmm.
and cut them apart and say, yeah, their farm system just isn't cutting it for the team,
Yep.
and
I know. Yeah.
you know,
Well, that's why the Padres in some ways look decent, because they got rid of a lot of guys. And when you just dump a lot of, you trade, your top 25, your 30, right? Most of those guys are not going to work out.
mhm.
That's the math for any team.
Yeah,
And
any of
so
them.
it kind of looks good in their ways. The problem is, of course, the Padres don't get enough in return. You got to make the right trades.
Yeah.
And the Dodgers still do the better job of making the right trades. Yeah. The whole Jordan Alvarez, there's a couple out there, but this is what Showtime says right here. I could not agree more about River, Ryan, and Sheehan. I think they could also be aces. And also, I think, to be honest, I think if, where Ryan's at, maybe he goes the bullpen, because I think he'd be nasty there too.
Yeah.
And, who knows with the Tommy John stuff, right? You guys ever have time to look back on the 2022 trade proposals? All I know is the Padres did. There was someone the Padres making the trade. It was the Nationals making the trade. They made the right call. I mean, they did really well they got 3 above average to great players in that move. So they did the right thing. I think I don't remember what ours. I mean, Cartaya was in it. Pepio was in it. I don't remember who else was. Probably a bunch of guys that also flailed out. I mean, Pepio's probably would have been the best guy of all those guys, the way it's turned out. And but he's not Mackenzie Gore, that's who the Nationals got him. That worked. Usually those trades don't work out very well.
Yeah.
Where it's the team that usually wins the trade is the team that gets the best player.
Mhm.
But the Padres didn't take advantage of that. Because my whole thing with trading for Soto was the Dodgers would have had him for 2.5 years. Padres didn't even do that. They cut bait after 1.5 years.
Mhm.
Pitching development was very great. Yep. Only guy that I'm trying to protect in any non-Scuba trade are JDP and Sheehan. I'm trying to protect all the pitchers. And Showtime and LA have chat about this. JDP is still my number one guy. Yeah. So
I personally, I do not see Bo Bichette leaving Toronto. I'll be surprised.
I
if
think
he
so.
leaves.
I think you're right.
I'll be surprised if he leaves Toronto.
I still think you're right on that one.
Yeah.
But I just can't believe that. I just think it was stupid. I've probably seen Dylan Cease more than anybody because I'm down here.
Mm-hmm.
And there are times you go, wow, he's just amazing. And then he Bobby Millers it. All of a sudden he's just gone. And I just couldn't believe it. I was just shocked that happened. And I'm like, wait, because to me he's a 3 or a 4.
Yeah.
People are like, oh, he's your game 2 starter. He is. Oh, okay, sure. What team you talking about? Because I don't think he's game 2 for even that team. They got the stud with you Savage, and then they've got Gosman's fine, but I don't know. Dylan Cease, pass. I know that the Dodgers were allegedly hot on him. I'm glad that never worked out because, yeah.
You better get going, Tim.
I know. I got to get to work. I'm putting it off. I'm so tired. Yeah.
You're going to get in trouble.
No. Well, as long as I get her done. Let's see. Yeah. I'm true on this one.
Yes.
They can't do both. Well, they could. They make a lot of money.
Yeah.
A lot of money. So how about they got a taste. They got a taste, and it was
close.
They were this close to winning.
So close, but
literally
so far.
Oh my God! Yeah. That's what the Dodgers kept doing to him. It's right here. It's right here. Boom.
They got the Roadrunner Coyote effect going on there.
I do work in software. Yes, I do work in software when I work. All right, cool. Any news on 3 free agents for overseas? You're gonna have to go back and watch the beginning of the show because come on, man. And 7R, we covered a lot of Mike and Brandon too covered a lot of good information. So please go take a listen to them.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna do something real quick. Wait, hold on.
Yeah, come on, man. Definitely go back and to the beginning. We had just an amazing guest on tonight.
Yep.
And we talked all about NPB KBO players. So please do that and make sure you share the stream also.
Yep, they're 2 pitches away. Crazy, but hey, Dodgers won, man. It's almost 4 weeks since Game 4 or Game 6. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Would I do four for 180 million? Showtime. Come on, man. You know my answer. It's not my money. Heck yeah. Heck yeah. Bring it, man. Give me them trumpets. Give me them trumpets, man.
I'd do it.
Oh, can you imagine? I've thought about it just recently, but the trumpets at LA with that whole thing that he does, man.
Yeah.
It just go nuts. Oh, he becomes an instant favorite. Oh my gosh. Who knows, man? I didn't think they'd do, forget the results. I didn't think they'd do Tanner Scott. I didn't think they'd do Kirby Yates. They did it. They did them both because they wanted to keep winning.
Mm-hmm.
And so, given that, I'm thinking definite maybe.
Yeah.
Your compilers, Professor. Oh gosh, compilers. Oh, Man, don't even get me started on that. I stay away from that. The only compiling I do is I write Maven or Make. Yeah, oh, man, I haven't heard any more from Vesey. I hope they're doing all right. Oh, Fairbanks is definitely got to be there. Rogers, I like Rogers. Well, not because of the name, but because he's that submarine guy. It's another look. I like those things too.
Mhm.
I think it's and the Dodgers like that too.
Yeah.
Um,
There's a
cool.
lot of great. There's a lot of great possibilities.
I know.
You
Yeah.
know, like again, you know, Andrew Freeman's got it nailed down. You know,
Hmm.
it's just like the saying says. Believe in Andrew Freeman. Because I totally do. He's going to make the right decision. And the great thing about the Dodgers organization is you have the ownership that are doing everything that they can to put this team together. And Freeman goes up there and says, "This is what we have, and this is what I
Yep.
think we should do, and here's what it's going to cost." And they say, "Do it."
I knew it had to come out at some point.
Oh, jeez.
Do you guys like Quan? I don't. I'm out on him. I don't know. What do you think, Steve? Or you're not
He's
Steve?
he's not my first pick. He's probably like my number 3 or whatever. But
If he can't
yeah,
play right field or center field, I don't want him because if he
yeah,
plays left field, you know what that means.
yeah, you know.
Buxton. Oh, everyone who Buxton's fun. Get up, strike a bounce. Did you see those highlights of Will Klein?
Mhm.
He was pitching. He looked exactly like Yamamoto.
He
The
was.
drive line.
I don't know, man. I mean, I watched a lot of Will Klein and in OKC, and I was pleasantly surprised in what he did. You coming up, and it's funny because you really, in some ways, you really can't judge them until they actually come up. Because Klein just like turned it up into another level. Henriquez can turn it up into another level. Landon Knack is a perfect example of that. He does pretty good with OKC, but then he goes into a next level when he comes up with LA. He'll have a really good game, but then he won't have such a great game. He'll struggle a little bit, but he'll figure it out and get himself out of situations. To where he's with OKC, it's just like he has a bad game and it just goes downhill. So
Yeah, he was. He just seemed to be disappointed.
mhm.
Just pitching, just like I'm just down here doing my work. It's got to be rough on him mentally when you're like, shoot, man, I was just on the World Series roster, pitching in the World Series, and now I'm in OKC, and not necessarily because I'm bad. It's because they have better pitchers.
Mhm.
I mean, he is a guy that, in my opinion, deserves to be traded.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, definitely.
I think if they're not going to give him a shot or they're not going to give Ryan Ward a shot, please trade them. It's only the right thing to do.
Mhm.
That's it, But yeah, for Quan, for me, it's like they want a lot for him, and if he's only going to play left field, I'm out. I'm just out on him.
Yeah, and that's my big thing too. If he's only going to be a left fielder, then I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm not for him.
We need to do one of these this year at Tower
Yeah,
Buzzers.
yeah.
We need to do that. I wanted to do it last year, just ran out of everything.
It's easier to do it at the single A.
Yep.
Because the tickets are a lot cheaper. It's a lot easier. There's a lot more areas to meet at, and you're not being bumped from behind, and just
Yeah.
being just totally, from a full $50,000 or 50,000 group of people,
Yeah.
trying to get to the same place at the same time.
Who knows? Maybe with the Tower Buzzers, they'll give us an area or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Let's get out of here. I'm gonna go try to get some energy and do some
Yep.
work.
And I can't stress this enough, guys. Brandon was gracious enough to to come on and talk to us. as you guys seen, he's a wealth of information. Please share the stream. Get it out. Obviously, it helps us, but it helps him out also.
Let me
And
get his X account
yeah,
in here.
and he's a great dude. And
Please hit the like button.
yeah, go follow him. He doesn't post a whole lot, but he's got a lot of stuff. So
yeah, for sure. No, I really that was just great. He's a really good guest. I mean, he's got a lot of energy, which I really appreciated. Especially since I'm so low on it right now. But yeah, well, hopefully we can have him back. Hopefully to talk about maybe one of the Dodgers signing with us, but probably,
he'll definitely be back.
Yep.
He sent me a message already.
Oh, awesome. Very good. Very good. Yeah. All right. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate you. As we say, thank you so much. Please hit the like button. Please, 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 please. What are we at?
Yep.
How many likes do we got?
I got
14 likes. 14 likes. Come on, man.
Yeah.
There's our former president was like, come on, man. We did get a new member. That was good. So please hit the like button. We really need that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Thanks for that, Ross. Ross, man.
Yeah.
Good information. Yeah, there's people plugged in that have really good information. So yeah, winter meeting's coming up. We'll have to do a preview show.
Yep.
I'm gonna look at making a tier list, or one of them tier things or something like that, or a list. We just got to get a list of dudes to talk about whether they're real candidates or fake candidates or whatever for trades. I don't want to talk about who we're giving up, not too much, but hopefully we don't give up too much. But yeah, there's between trades and free agents, there's a lot of players out there.
Yep.
And the Dodgers will get, I'm going to say 2 of them,
whatever
that may be.
Yep.
I don't think they'll be big, but I think they'll be big. I think they'll have not a lot of players. I think they will make one of them will be a splash that will surprise the heck out of us.
Definitely.
Andrew Friedman. All right. Thanks, everyone. As always, God bless.